We had an officer working at Pulse nightclub who responded to shots fired. Our officer engaged in a gun battle with that suspect. The suspect at some point went back inside the club where more shots were fired. This did turn into a hostage situation. From there, obviously multiple officers from various agencies responded. SWAT team responded. At approximately 0500 hours this morning, the decision was made to rescue hostages that were in there. Our SWAT officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect. The suspect is dead. He appeared to be carrying a rifle, an assault-type rifle, and a handgun.
Look at that, just shooting back and forth. That is crazy. Look at this. Let's go. Llama Alfredo. Let's go in your car. Oh my God, they're all shooting back and forth. Let's go. Go this way. Look at all that. Oh my
Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Can you hear me? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, fallen angels on the loose. You're witnessing the demonic manifest itself right before your very eyes.
And it's a horribly frightening scene inside a local Dollar General store. An attempted kidnapping right here, caught on tape. This happened this afternoon, and a tug of war you see ensued as this mom tries to do anything she can to save her 13-year-old daughter from the clutches of clearly a crazy man. Evan Axelbank, live in Hernando, Citrus County, to tell us about it. Evan, that video is hard to watch. We understand an off-duty deputy helped save the day. That's a miracle in its own. But start with the little girl. How is she doing?
Well, right now we are told that she and her family are obviously very shaken up after this. Now, her name, her identity are not being released because this is going to be a charge of child abuse, and deputies say they still don't know why he tried to take her.
Everybody needs to go.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Everybody get back. Everybody get back.
Stay down! Stay down! Stay down!
Back inside. Everybody get back.
Stay down!
Get inside. Yo, go. Guy, come back. This way, go inside.
We're following some breaking news out of Orlando where YouTube star Christina Grimmie is in critical condition after being shot 3 times at a concert venue where she was scheduled to perform. Police say Grimmie's brother tackled the gunman who opened fire while the 22-year-old was signing autographs. The gunman then shot and killed himself. No word yet on a possible motive for the shooting.
Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. On the heels of the Switzerland tunnel opening, where they did a manifestation of the occult right before your very eyes, folks, we are witnessing tragic events left and right, but that is what you get when you accept the demonic. I'm sure you have seen these clips, but take a look at this again. Luke 17:26. And as it was in the days of Noe, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Did you see that clip? Did you hear the demons? Did you hear the open witchcraft? They aren't hiding it anymore, folks. They aren't hiding it anymore. Ever since that day, look at the world. It's been bad before, but look at what's happened since that day. Crazy things. In Canada, Canada's Supreme Court legalizes sexual acts with animals. Consider that, folks. There are people who want to marry dogs. There are people who want to marry their cat. This is Canada's Supreme Court. In Oregon, folks, Oregon court allows person to change sex from female to non-binary. Female to non-binary. As I read these news clips to you, and you may have seen them already. You know that I work Monday through Friday. It's hard for me to be able to upload things as they happen. I am in shock that I am actually reading to you news headlines like the ones that I am reading to you. And this is what the person says. I was assigned male at birth due to biology. This person says, I am stuck with that for my life. My gender identity is definitely feminine. My gender identity has never been male, but I feel like I have to own up to my male biology. Being non-binary allows me to do that. I am a mixture of both. I consider myself as a third sex. Folks, this is what happens when you openly accept the demonic. And this is only the beginning. In cartoons, it's already happening. Steven's Universe lesbian romance. Rebecca Sugar addresses Ruby and Sapphire's relationship. This is on Cartoon Network, folks. Take a look at what she says. You can't wait until kids have grown up to let them know that queer people exist. There's this idea that it's something that should only be discussed with adults. That is completely wrong. So in her cartoons, she is going to start implementing material that no child should have to view. Take a look at this clip from her recent cartoon and look at the connotations within it.
Ruby, stop being cute. And Sapphire, keep your eye on the ball.
Pun intended.
What did I just say? Strike one!
Come on! I know you can do it!
Strike two!
Just look at the ball.
I'm trying, but all I want to look at is you.
Don't worry. You can look at me when you're running for home.
But it's never enough for LGBT fans. And notice these clips and these acronyms, they don't want to ever call it sodomy. They always want to call it this binary, LGBT, anything except sodomy. But it is sodomy. But it's never enough for them. Look what it says here. Finding Dory's lesbian couple and how Disney keep failing its LGBT fans. And it goes on to say, no Disney, Finding Dory's lesbian couple can't just be whatever you want them to be. When will the House of Mouse stop playing it so safe? It's not enough for them. It's never gonna be enough for them. It's not enough that they had two female characters that were they want to show more and more and more to kids. It's gotten so bad that in Alaska, there was a high school track meet, and guess who won? It was a man who he says he is now a female, and of course he's gonna be there running with the women and he's gonna beat them. I mean, folks, how idiotic have we become as a people in this world, man? But we're talking about seducing spirits, man. That via fallen angels, via the inspiration of fallen angels, they've got you deceived.
Well, it's been a growing issue across the country, transgender equality, and today the focus was on the track. 13 seconds after the gun sounds, the fastest 3A girls in the state cross the finish line of the 100-meter run. Haynes' Natafon Wengyat is among them, but Wengyat's story is different than any other runner at the state championships. She was born a male. Natafon and her coach declined to comment on this story, but outside the stadium, members of the Alaska Family Council gather to voice their opinion.
It is not fair and it is not right for our female athletes, and we have a responsibility to protect our girls that have worked really hard, that are working toward college scholarships.
Wengyat was the 3rd seed in the 100-meter race coming into the weekend, just missing the cut, Hutchison senior Saskia Harrison.
Revelation 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Did you see that? Sorcerers, abominable, unbelieving, idolaters. It's gotten very demonic, folks, to the point that look at what this lady did.
For most people, going blind would be a nightmare. But for Jewel Chooping, it was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. She suffers from a rare condition called body integrity identity disorder, which led her to deliberately take her own sight.
When there's nobody around you that feels the same way, you start to think that you're just very crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I think I have a disorder. BIID means that you have a need to be disabled in some way. In my case, it was a need to go blind.
9 years ago, Jewel took the drastic decision to blind herself, and she researched the method she would use.
I found that lye is very painful, although it does get the job done. I found that drain cleaner is little less painful, although it does a lot of damage to the eye. Because drain cleaner was easily available to me, I went with that.
She found a psychologist willing to help her, and after 2 weeks of working together to make sure she was ready, they carried out Jewel's plan.
I laid down on the sofa and he sat next to me. Dropped 2 drops into each eye. My eyes were screaming. I had some drain cleaner going down my cheek, burning my skin. In the moment, all I could think of was, I'm going blind, it's gonna be okay.
After waiting half an hour to make sure the damage was done, the psychologist took Jewel to hospital, where doctors fought to save her sight.
When I woke up the following day, I was joyful until I turned on my back, opened my eyes, and could see the TV screen. I was so enraged, and I thought that it hadn't worked. Then over about 6 months, the sight in both eyes slowly went away. I was so happy. I felt that this was who I was supposed to be.
2 Peter 2:5-7, and spare not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Could you imagine what Noah must have gone through? It says he was a preacher of righteousness. Could he have been warning people, perhaps? Imagine the unbelieving world witnessing Noah with his hammer and his nails, hammering away, building the ark. A huge ark. One could assume that he was mocked. One could assume that he was looked down upon. One could assume that he was threatened. If you read the account in Genesis 6, you will see that the fallen angel among them were wreaking havoc. And today, in our day and age, they're doing the same. Scientists talk privately about creating a synthetic human genome. Via the inspiration of these fallen angels, Satan is attempting to make his own creation here on earth They're splicing genes. They're splicing DNAs. They're making animals which should not be made. This is why they're telling you that it's okay for you to say that you're now a unisex type of a person, that you're no longer male, that you're now female, that you can marry a dog, that you can marry a cat, that you can marry a robot. They want you to accept the abominable. But did we not just read in Revelation 21:8, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable? You see, because once you get used to accepting the X-Men, which are half human, half alien type of beings, once you get to accepting all of these hybrids, hybrid animals, hybrid humans, hybrid relationships, then when the deception kicks even harder and you start seeing abominations walking alongside of you, it's going to be accepted as normal. It's going to be accepted as common. But it is not common, and it is not normal. It is demonic. Scientists discover 5 genes that impact nose shape. Will designer babies be far behind? You see, you already can pick a lot of things in your baby in a laboratory, but they're now taking it to the next level. In this article itself, it talks about designer soldiers. And the people that run this world, they're wicked. And they're led by Satan and his fallen angels. In Genesis 7:16 and in Matthew 25:10, we see a couple of parallels here that I just find interesting. The scripture tells us that the last days are going to be as the days of Noah. In Genesis 7:16, and they that went in, male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. The door of that ark was shut. Jesus Christ could be that ark today. You're at a point in time that you're hearing the gospel, but you mock it. You're at a point in time where you hear the gospel, yet you despise it, but that ark is going to close. In Matthew 25:10, we see, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. That door is going to be shut soon, folks. I don't know when, I don't know what moment, but I can tell you that if what we're witnessing before our very eyes is not the great falling away, then when it does happen, wow. Because we are witnessing an open manifestation of the demonic before your eyes, and it is only going to get worse. But I have good news. Satan is defeated. You see, Noah was given an instruction, and yes, he was put in the ark eventually and the door was shut, but Noah underwent much craziness in his time. Think of the things that Noah must have seen with the Nephilim. Think of the things that Noah must have heard. Church, we're going to go through some rough periods, church. I hope you're ready. I hope you're prepared. I know that many of you want to hear that Joe Osteen fluffy pancakes type of stuff. But folks, this isn't your best life now. 50 people were murdered in the last 24 hours. Okay? Young boys, young women are being indoctrinated into the occult every single day via what people call education. Things are getting bad. But while you're in this earth, follow the instructions of God. Follow the commandments of God. Follow the holiness that God called you to be. Imagine if Noah wouldn't have built that ark to the exact dimensions that God wanted it built. Imagine if he would have skipped one single nail that God wanted there put. It would have sunk. And you're in a time and a day that God has prescribed you via the scriptures instructions for you to live the way he wants you to live, for you to preach the gospel with holiness, man, with boldness, with the power of God. Because Satan is defeated. And while the demonic manifests right before your very eyes, understand this: that there is no fallen angel, no principality, no ruler of the darkness of this world that can withstand the name of Jesus. And I encourage you today to get closer to God, to get stronger to God, to get your family ready, to get your children ready. Not simply in fear, oh, I'm afraid of what's coming. There's nothing to fear. Jesus has already won, but get prepared. In Jesus' mighty name, I love you. Share this video with friends and families. Visit our website if you need anything, and I love you very much. God bless.